All right, hello, happy June and happy Pride. Welcome back to another episode of Advice Thursdays. And here I am again, AD, your host for tonight. And I couldn't be more privileged and honored to actually host this night because you know what? The topic for tonight is going to be about keeping spaces LGBTQIA friendly. At times like these, there are a lot of things that's been popping out. SOGI, we have to learn about all these, we have to see it on ourselves. And we have to inform and educate ourselves to actually provide safe spaces for people of the community. As part, I am doing my best to be aware and educate myself with all the things that I need to know about the community, how to fight for it more, and how to actually be an advocate more for that. So I can't wait to introduce our guests for tonight who will be helping us as a beginner's guide to actually creating spaces for the community and providing that comfort that we need and that safe space for us to express ourselves freely. So this is exciting. Let's introduce our first guest. Our first guest is an LGBTQIA plus and HIV/AIDS advocate. She currently serves as the managing director at Castro Communications PH, as well as the managing director at Miss Trans Global Philippines. Welcome onto the stage, Miss Janly Dongka. Hello, Miss Janly.
Hi, Adrian. Happy Pride. Thanks for
Happy
having me.
Pride. Thank you for being here. I know you must be busy and you must be doing a lot since you are, everywhere. And I want to know how are you doing and what's keeping you busy.
Yes, Pride Month is always the busiest for me, I would say, because I'm very active in the advocacies. Apart from the LGBTQ plus family advocacy, also the HIV/AIDS advocacy, which is closely linked to Pride Month as well, and the LGBTQ plus community. So right now, I would say the project that I'm really busy with and very passionate about currently is, of course, the Miss Trans Global Philippines 2021 pageant. It's happening on Sunday. The coronation night is already happening on Sunday, 8 p.m. live via our Facebook page, Miss Trans Global Philippines. We have 25 amazing transgender women finalists from all over the Philippines. When I was screening them, they came from all over, Misamis Occidental to Naga to all the cities or provinces in the Philippines you can imagine. And they're so inspiring. I'm so moved by their stories, and I'm excited to share their stories to everyone. Because first and foremost, the pageant is all about advocacy, changing the patriarchal narrative of what beauty is, where beauty is diverse, inclusive, and purposive. So please tune in on Sunday, 8 p.m. at Miss Trans Global Philippines on Facebook. Thank you.
Yes, wonderful. I'm just happy that you are a part of something that provides a platform for a lot of our members in the community. And that's just beautiful. I'm excited and definitely will check it out. Miss Trans Global, 8 p.m. on Sunday. Miss Trans Global Philippines on Facebook. Thank you so much, Miss Janly. All right, so I'll put you backstage first and then I'll bring in our next guest and then we'll talk it out after. Okay? Thank you, Miss Janly. All right. Now our next guest is one of the hosts of Kinks and Queens, a pioneer of online safe spaces during the pandemic, and one of Spaces Manila's newest LGBTQIA plus themed late night talk shows, an advocate for gender equality, anti-discrimination, HIV awareness, and building safe spaces. Let's welcome our guest, Mr. Miguel Lago. Hello.
Hi, Adrian. Good evening. I'm so thankful to be here. I'm feeling a bit under the weather, pero sige lang, laban lang tayo dito. This is gonna be a very interesting topic
For
because
sure.
it really deals um it's really close to my heart, especially because as someone who has been bullied before, we really need to create more spaces or more areas where we can be ourselves and not be judged by anybody else. Kaya ayun, I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. And I wait. I recall. So you're with Chal on Kings and Queens, right?
Yes,
You
yes,
host
yes, yes.
our
Shal
blog
is my
was
co-host. Yes.
ah He is our vlogger host search winner from the batch 2. So wonderful. I can't wait. And he was so excited to have you on board. So I
Thank
am
you.
also very excited to hear what you guys have to say in creating safe spaces for the community because it's a vast, vast world out there. And having a safe space is quite important, and representation is also important. So without further ado, I'll bring in Miss Janly, and let's start with our talk. Hello, Miss Janly. All
Hello,
right.
Ang
Aiden.
ganda-ganda naman
Actually,
natin, Mare.
Miguel and I are actually
Yes, we're
magkumare.
co-hosts.
Magkumare.
Oh,
Both,
in Kings and Queens also.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Jan
So,
Lee is the brains of the outfit.
I
Without
go
her,
there.
you
Of
would
course,
be,
Miguel also
ano.
is.
uh,
And syempre with Chal. Hello, Chal.
Yes, hi,
okay,
Chal.
Chal is here. Hello, Chal. Well, I'm just so excited to have you both here. Well, this is going to be exciting because I'm sure this is some of the things that you actually talk about already in your show, Kings and Queens. Now, I want to ask you both, why do you think it's important to actually create a safe space for the community? All right. So let's start with that because I'm sure you have both answers for that. I'll go with Miss Janly. Go for it, Madame Janly.
From the word itself, safe, it's coming from the notion that most of the members of our community, if not all, LGBTQ plus people, do not feel safe uh, in every place that they go to. So, because we are often discriminated because of our SOGI, our sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression. Therefore, some people find it hard to understand us, to accept us, and some of them resort to violence, and that's harmful for members of our community. Therefore, we do not feel safe, and that's why it's important for our community to to sustain current safe spaces, and to keep on creating safe spaces for everyone in our community, because that's the only way we can thrive. When we feel safe, we are able to grow, we are able to thrive, and that's very important for us.
Yeah, I agree. I really do like right now. I'm just happy that there are a lot of safe spaces. Even for me, growing up, being part of being gay, doing all of that, it was hard to actually fit in, and there wasn't anything for me to. People were always telling me to go, oh, do this sport, do this one, do this one. So it was always trying to fit in a box. And right now, which I'm glad that it's growing, that there are a lot of safe spaces. There are people who are actually creating safe spaces for people like me, for people like you, for everybody else in the community that feels alone. And, you know, seeing that for both of you, thank you so much for being that. Thank you for pioneering these kinds of spaces because really helps a lot. I'm sure of it. You've touched lives, and I'm excited to hear more. So thank you, Miss Janly, and naman Mr. Miguel for this one. And let's get on with the other questions. All right, Mr. Miguel, what about you? Why is it important to create safe spaces?
Yeah, one of the things, like what I said earlier, one of the things that we need as a community is to have a place to be ourselves, and to also have a place where we can have healthy discussions without fear of recrimination or bullying, not just from outside the community, but from inside the community as well. One of the analogies that comes to mind is Pose, the ball
Yeah,
culture during the 90s, where they created a safe space. I love that show.
same.
Where they created a safe space for themselves in New York. And that was the time that was at the height of the AIDS epidemic. That was at the height where trans people were getting arrested or murdered or discriminated left and right. It was a time where we needed to find our own place, where we can be ourselves. And that's essentially what and as human beings, we need that. You know, we need a place where we can say we belong. We need a place where we can say we can feel safe, where we can feel not judged by other people. We need a place where we can talk about things without fear of recrimination. And that's really what safe space is all about. Yeah.
Okay, thank you both. Again, oh, wonderful. You guys make me feel so honored, really, right now to actually talk to you about these safe spaces. And my next question would be, as a content creator now, how did you get started, and what kind of content do you make, and how do you these are three-part questions now. So how did you get started with the content creation? What kind of content you make? And how else do you pioneer safe spaces in the way that you create content? So let's go again with Miss Janvi.
Well, for me, I guess I would start with what my personal project last year. I actually started hashtag posts with Jan Lee during the height of the pandemic because one of my um, coping mechanisms was retail therapy, so online shopping talaga. And I bought so many clothes that I wasn't able to wear naman because of that. We were just stuck at home, diba? So I thought of doing a personal project, because I follow this transgender male activist named Skylar Bailar. So he is an Korean American trans activist, and he posts about different uh, issues about the LGBT community using his blackboard or whiteboard. And I thought of doing the same thing. So, because initially I just wanted to, do OOTDs kasayang naman all of the clothes I
Yeah.
bought. And I mean, why not uh, do OOTDs while at the same time spreading awareness on my advocacy? So I married both interests of mine. So I did OOTDs while um, holding a blackboard or a whiteboard with a message on it written, and then in my caption it's explained, and then I created slides also. So it's a carousel on Instagram that people can read, and I also translated everything to Filipino in order for me to reach more people, or for more people to understand. So I was able to do that for a couple of months, but then I got so busy at work and with Miss Trans Global. So right now I'm not doing it again. So maybe soon, and hopefully soon, I will be able to do it again. But that's one of my favorite contents that I created on my IG particularly and Facebook. And then of course Kings and Queens came. With Miguel and Chal, di ba? Parang during the pandemic, we wanted to connect and to create a community, a safe space, di ba? So we started Kings and Queens to talk about issues of LGBTQ plus people, and how we can again create more safe spaces and strengthen that connection within the community. So that's another one. And the third one would be, as I mentioned, Miss Trans Global Philippines. Well, it's not really content, but it's a platform. It's a platform that I'm able to utilize to advocate for trans rights, particularly. So we're not looking for any beauty queen who just wants to add another crown to her stash. We're looking for really a queen who fights for trans rights, who advocates for trans rights, and that's really the goal of Miss Trans Global Philippines and the Miss Trans Global organization as a whole. Yeah, so those three would be what I've been busy with.
Yeah. Oh wow. Really just it's really so good that you get to spearhead things like this, to be able to shed light on a lot of issues that the community faces and creating those space. I am just in awe. Like it's so hard to actually manage a community. You know what I mean? Like having safe spaces. I find it difficult to actually connect different personalities, different people all at the same time. And doing that right now makes it wow, amazing. Um, so yeah, I have both a follow-up question for you both later after this. So calm yourself down first. Let's have Mr. Lago answer the question naman, and then I'll have a follow-up for both. Go for it,
Sige.
Mister.
The funny thing is that I don't really consider myself a content creator because Well, I just really started on Twitter, and it was my catharsis. You know, when you have your rant account and you just like say whatever you want, and all of a sudden, you know, you find that there are people who retweet this because apparently they relate to those opinions, and basically that's what happened, na parang naggrow yung following, and I felt that there was a need for me to do something about my account. Like, it's not just going to be for rants anymore. Well, I still rant. I mean, I'm really makalat on Twitter. People will people can attest to that. But um, um, it all it also has something to do with educating people. Um, when I prior to the pandemic, and prior to me working in a multinational, I was an educator in
Hmm.
Benilde. So
Cool.
I was advisor for Benilde's LGBT student org. I was also advisor for their I was also the head of their student publications office. And I really want um I, and my grandmother is an educator. My mother takes after her. She's very academic. My father is an educator. So you can see how that runs in the blood. And I figure that my account or my content should also reflect a little bit of that. Like, not just kalat, not just thirst straps and and stuff like that, but rather also something more, like an advocacy, like something that can educate and inform other people about our struggles, about our fight, about our community. Um, and it really just springboarded from there. After that, they got me for Kings and Queens for season 2, and that was pretty
Yay.
much that was pretty much a highlight of the highlight of my online content creation life. Yeah. Um, so yeah, there you go. I don't I don't think of myself as a content creator in the sense that I have a really good curated feed. But
Yeah.
one of the things that I love to do is to educate people and to inspire people and engage them. That was one of my rallying cry. That was my rallying cry when I was in Benil, to my students: engage, inspire, empower. And I'm still taking that here within to myself. Yeah.
I love, all I could say, I'm also from CSB, but I
Oh, ah.
graduated. Yeah, I'm a kiddie there from 2014 until 2017. So I don't know if I don't know,
Ay,
but yeah, it
naabutan
was.
kita. You when I came in, nag-graduate ka na. Kaka-graduate mo pa lang. I graduated
Okay.
2006.
Ooh, okay. Well, I wasn't able to, at any point, I wasn't able to actually join any orgs then, but I was a cheerleader. So in my
Oh,
own way, I
nice.
kind of like was able to express myself and all that. Mostly do things internally. But first off, I don't think naman having a curated feed or whatever is the basis of a content creator. And what you're doing to educate and do all of that is already more than enough of you being a content creator. So hi, Miss Faye also said here, happy Pride, everybody. And I'm just so happy to be happy Pride. I skated my way through Pride the other day, like roller skated and all the likes. I'm so happy being here. But thank you both for those wonderful engage, inspire, and empower. Wonderful. And you guys provide such safe spaces. Now, my follow up question would be, since starting Kings and Queens, you were able to create a community, right? And with that, how do you define an LGBTQIA plus friendly environment? How do you define a safe space? Like the parameters of it being a safe space for the community. So anyone can start first. I'll give the floor to both of you. Just go.
Sige, ikaw muna. Oo.
Sige. You know what? We actually had an episode of Kings and Queens dedicated to
Yeah.
safe spaces. So this is actually one of the topics that we discussed. What are safe spaces? How safe spaces can benefit us? So I think one of my takeaways from that episode was that a safe space is similar to what Miguel already mentioned. A space where you can be yourself, and a space where where you do not fear of your safety, where you do not fear of getting discriminated or getting harmed, because it's also a space where you connect with people who share the same um, beliefs, the same values. So it's a space where you can grow and develop yourself.
Mm-mm. Um, One of my key takeaways there in that episode was that you don't need to be you don't need to be a group in order to be a safe space. You can just be one person, and you can be that safe space for somebody else.
Right.
Um, Basically, the bottom line here is that it's being a friend, and what do friends do? They support each other, they listen to each other. Sometimes they tell each other the hard truths, truths that you don't want to hear, but you tell tell the truth in love. You come from a place of love and respect and understanding and educating. And that's really what safe spaces should be about. It should be about it's not going to be it's not all going to be tawag dito? It's not going to be all pretty
Partner.
and bright
Yeah.
and
Yes.
all roses and
And
stuff like that, 'di ba? I mean, people can have disagreements within a safe space. I mean, look at
Yeah.
Pose.
yeah.
People can have disagreements within a safe space. People can have disagreements within a family. But that doesn't mean that we love each other any less. When push comes to shove, we're gonna have to support each other when when we fight for each other, and when we lift each other up. That's what safe space is all about. Hi, Carl. Oh my gosh, si Carl nandito.
Yeah, hi Carl. Funny story. So Carl and I met over at Park Views, which is amazing. So anyway, yeah, I love it that yeah, there are problems within the community. Now, thank you for bringing us there. Thank you for bringing us there. And I just want to say thank you, Blogafam. Blogafam is a safe space. Your allies. Yes, you are, guys. I love you. I love y'all. Thank you. Whew. Okay, so now my other question, since you brought us into that, like internal problems within the community, what's like the biggest thing or challenge in bringing the community together? On my part, like personally, what I've struggled with even up until now is I am somehow not hyper feminine, but I am feminine to a well, it's not bad, it's not anything. I understood that. I understand that. But there are spaces where they consider it a LGBTQIA community space, but sometimes I don't feel safe about it because of the way I express myself. So that's my internal struggle with the community because there are people who say this is as preference, but at a certain point they use it as something to, to drive me away, to drive me off, and make me feel uncomfortable in my own space that I should be comfortable in. So that's one of my internal struggles with the whole community. So what is the biggest struggle that you guys are facing in bringing in the community together?
That's a tough question. No,
All
there's
right.
a lot.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, well,
That's a,
in the Kings and Queens, in the space that you have with Kings and Queens, like, is there any struggle that you face together as in the community and all the lights?
I think
What?
one of the sige, go,
Go,
Jan, ikaw
go.
muna.
Oh yeah,
Ikaw
go.
muna,
You
ako
go.
muna. Go. O sige.
Sige.
No.
I think in
Ah,
Kings and Queens we're good naman, no? I don't think we've experienced
oo.
any major obstacle, Sometimes there are disagreements, but very minor. But siguro I'll answer your question. You mentioned the word internal. I think it all roots from internalized LGBTQ plus phobia. All of us, no matter how woke we might be, there's still a part of us that we need to unpack, we need to unlearn, we need to unlearn and learn again, because um, more often than not, a lot of the members of our LGBTQ plus community have internalized phobia about our soji, meaning, and I can speak from personal experience. When I came out for the second time as a trans woman, I had internalized transphobia. I was scared because I had internalized transphobia. I would see how trans people would be treated on media, and that made me so scared. Therefore, my treatment towards other trans people before I transitioned was also similar to how the media treated them, as jokes, as entertainer, source of entertainment. So it all comes from that internalized phobia that we do not try to understand each other, and it's hard. It's difficult because it's years of institutionalized um, perception of our soji, diba? Because when we were growing up, media taught us that it's a weakness to be gay, to be trans, diba? So that's what we know, and until now, it's so hard to unlearn that. But that's the challenge, really.
Yeah, springboarding from what John Lee said, there's internalized homophobia, and there's also a lot of other issues like harassment within the community. And that is something that we have to address also. Because if we want to be a safe space for other people, we also have to address the fact that there are people who might not be safe spaces for us.
Mhm.
There are people who are toxic. And I don't want to say that's normal because I don't want to normalize that. But there is room for growth. Like what Jandy said, there has to be room for growth. We have to be better than this. We have to be better than our predecessors. We have to be better than our internalized than our internal issues. Um, Another thing is that we have so many stereotypes. We stereotype ourselves. That's right. Tama tulad
Yeah.
ng sabi ni Johnny kanina. We stereotype ourselves. We stereotype others within the community. And I also experienced that before. Like when I play volleyball kasi. And one of the things that I hated hearing was that because I'm a big guy. Like I I I
Yeah.
I go to the gym a lot. And when I play volleyball, I mean, ang sasabihin nila, ay, ang laki ng katawan pero ang Barbie naman, ganyan.
Yeah.
How
Oh
much
God,
money mo?
that's so
I
annoying.
know it's
I find
it
it.
that's something that and that stuck with me of along for a long time because I didn't want to be my true self. I didn't want to let loose for a really long time. And it was only it was only in 2018 when I came out that I finally realized, parang f these people, f them, f what people are saying. This is who you are. It doesn't matter whether you're big and you're Borta and you're Barbie. What matters is that you know who you are, and you know that you're not doing anything wrong. That's something that we have to teach a lot of people still now. And another thing is that we tend to antagonize so many people. I also experienced this last year. Um, we are a we are a community that we tend to be sometimes a community that gets easily antagonized by things. We forget that the community is made up of human beings, imperfect human beings, and these human beings are prone to mistakes. But what should matter, is how these imperfect human beings respond to this mistake, respond to call outs, and how these people who call out these imperfect human beings to respond to the people they do call out also. So yeah, there you go. There's a lot that we have to work on as a community. But the thing is that we have to keep hoping, and we have to keep fighting, because that's really what safe spaces should be about. We should keep fighting for a better community. Yeah.
Amen. All right. Well, those are so wonderful. Thank you so really. Even up until now, I also have the same. Like, yeah, I do get that most of the time. To be honest, I get antagonized with like being called like yeah Barbie and all that. And sometimes I'd be like, oh, I have more balls than you have. Like, I can do more crap than you do. Like, what? Like, I am a badass, but like I sorry for the terms, but like I usually get those and I usually get upset when people are like, "Oh, this is what you can do." And I'm like, "Let me show you, honey, what I can do. Let me just show you." But and I've known so many people who are flamboyant, effeminate, and wonderful in so many sense of the word and how they express themselves and very artistic and creative to be actually just boxed in that kind of oh because you're too like this, you're too like that, and frustrating to see. But I love that you guys are creating such a safe space for all people of the spectrum. You know, that's what I think people have to understand with the community. It's that we are in a spectrum that we don't just fall onto one box of being, you know, I can be gay and I can present myself as masculine as I want or as feminine as I want and be anyone who I want to be as long as I'm sure with myself and I don't hurt anybody. So thank you. Those are wonderful, wonderful answers. I'm just hyped up. But I just want to call into our like comment section. There are so many. Carl said here, sad that there are still stereotypes and discrimination within the community. And he thinks that kinks and queens and spaces like these are much safer since it's a choice to tune into. But in the outside world where we don't know what's going to happen, we always have to have our guard up.
Yeah, that's
And then
true.
he tagged you. It's so weird. Like you have to come out in the straight world, then you have to come out in the gay community since we don't fall into the stereotype. Yeah,
Yes.
they
Correct.
exactly. Oh, it's so. Oh gosh, I'm out of. I want to be an open book, but like it's hard. Like like, oh come on, this is it. Whatever you get, whatever you see. And you know what? The hatest comments that not hatest, the worst comments I usually get is like, oh I thought you were straight because of your pictures and all the like, and or like sayang
Yeah.
ka. Like those terms just get me
Right.
like, come on, sayang.
Microaggression.
Microaggressions. Yes.
Yeah. So I try not to just get antagonized. Be like, you just probably don't know crap, but all good. But here's one question for you, Miss Janlina. Somebody asked this one on the comments. What is the best experience being a trans woman? What is your best experience? Like, what was the best moment for you in becoming a trans woman?
This is this is like a Miss Universe moment.
Yes,
Ayan,
go
ito
for
na,
it,
Mare.
madam.
Yeah, I always go back to when I just started realizing that I'm trans. I think the best moment for me was when I came out to my family. And up to now, that was still um, the most the scariest dinner of my life because I asked them out to dinner, my whole family, and I came out to them for the second time as a trans woman because I already came out when I was in high school as a gay boy. So so this was when I was already working, and they were wondering why I uh, invited them to dinner for no reason, and I was like, "What? I just want to catch up." But then, so after dinner, I told them that I'm not actually a gay man, but a trans woman. So I was so scared of how they would react. My siblings already knew prior, but my parents didn't. So I had to really explain to them what it was, the differences between being a trans woman and a gay man. And to me, up until now, that was the best moment of my life as a trans woman when my parents accepted me. Of course, apart from the point when I realized that I'm actually a woman and not a gay man. That would come second. But the best feeling is when your family accepts, supports, and loves you. To me, if that's the only thing I need. I don't need people accepting me. I mean, well, of course I do, but if my family accepts me, then I know I have their back and I can conquer anything.
Oh, and that is a beautiful. Oh, that's a beautiful moment. I'm happy that you did. I'm happy that it turned out the way you want, the way it turned out now, and where you are today. And it's just such a testament to that kind of love and having your family behind you. You become someone who can create spaces for other people. You can become that light, and it's beautiful. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your light. This is awesome.
Of course.
Yeah.
Just to add, sorry. I also acknowledge that I'm right now with the current state of our community. I was lucky. I'm lucky that my family accepts me. Although I know I shouldn't be lucky because it should be the norm that your family accepts you. But and I also acknowledge my privilege as someone with an understanding, accepting, and loving family. But at the same time, I know that not every trans people, not every
Yes.
LGBTQ plus people experience says the same. And
Yeah.
we are here for them. We are doing these things for them so that one day their families would be accepting and loving of them also.
And that's the beautiful thing out of it. You use the power and the platform that you have to help out the other people. Yeah, being a light and hope to people out there. And speaking of that, thank you for springboarding on that. One thing that I want to ask from both of you is that what are the things to keep in mind when we try to keep our environments and work, such as workplaces, classrooms, and online spaces, friendly or safe for the community? What are the things that we have to keep in mind on that one? So yeah, can anyone
Yeah,
can
yeah, you wanna go.
Siguro one of the things that we have to be careful about is language. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I have found that as a communicator, as a writer and public speaker, I have found that just the simplest words can make or break a conversation. It can shut people out and it can open doors and build bridges. So that's one thing really that we have to be careful with our language, our words. Now I don't wanna say naman na oh, we're perfect, 'di ba? Kasi kahit ako I am still sometimes prone to microaggressions, and I don't even know that these are microaggressions until somebody calls them out to me. But again, if you call someone out, you have to come from a place of love. Yun. So it's all about the language. Even when you call someone out, when you listen to someone, when you encourage them, it's all about the language because language can make or break your conversation. Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I love the fact that you said it has to come from a place of love. It has to come from a place of you're trying to call out someone, not to shame you, not to whatever, but to let you know that you have to be educated, you have to be more aware and more, just aware and mindful of the things that you're gonna say to the people in the community, actually people in general. I think that also applies in everyone that you come along with. So thank you so much. Now, what about you, Miss Janly?
I think coming from what Miguel mentioned, no, about always coming from a place of love, I would say uh, we should all remember to be kind and empathic. As simple as that. Because I think kindness and empathy are often overlooked, are very underrated. People tend to always be mad and angry, and when in fact that's easier. It's easier to be angry, and it's much harder to be kind. To be empathic. But let's remember that by being kind and empathic, we are able to see where the other person is coming from. We are able to have a clearer mind to resolve our issues as a community. So it's something that I always tell people to try to have all the time. Because at the end of all the arguments, at the end of all the discussions, it's just our humanity. It's our values that remain. So when you are kind, you're in control.
Mm. One,
Ah,
and I want to add to that also, ha. It doesn't mean that when you're kind or when you're empathic, hindi ka na magagalit. I mean, come on. Nagagalit
yeah.
ang tao. Like we get angry. Even Jesus Christ got angry. When he overturned all those tax tables in the temple, Jesus Christ got angry.
Mhm.
But again, that was righteous anger, and that came really from a place of respect, and that came from a place of love as well. So even our parents get angry at us a lot of times, and when they get angry at us, sometimes a lot of times it comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of educating us. And that's also what we have to understand as human beings, that we are prone to getting angry. But what is important is how we respond after that anger. Do we stew in that anger? Do we wallow in that anger and bitterness? And I understand it's hard for a lot of people, especially those with deep-seated trauma. And that one is another issue. That
Yeah.
one is a bigger issue. When you have to address trauma, because that has to do with healing, that has to do with rectifying actions. Pero for the basis of this discussion, and in the simplest terms, we have to, when we get angry, we don't have to stew in that anger and in that bitterness. Sometimes we just have to accept the fact that people make mistakes, and especially if they're not, they're not huge mistakes like rape or harassment or stuff like that. Of course, that one you have to really address head on.
Yeah.
So there. Yeah.
It's a whew, this is intense. I love it. I love the topic. It's so amazing. Thank you both. You guys are awesome. Whew, that's intense. I love how empathy, kindness, and not stewing in your anger. That's true. I think you can. I personally sometimes just use my anger to actually motivate me to
Mhm.
create a better space. Like it. What I've learned growing up is actually creating my own bubble in space and making sure that people who enter the bubble in the space are either become someone more educated than after, like even if they don't really completely agree. I just have to keep a bubble that's open for them to a proper discourse. And I've had one of those a few times, even with my father, because my relationship with my dad hasn't been really easy for the first part of it, and then afterwards it was okay. It was cool. I really asked him like point blank, he went, "Are you okay that I'm gay?" Like I really like, "Oh, are you fine with me being gay?" Like all of this and all the likes. And he cried and all. That's a wonderful story that we had. It was cool. Then now I can express myself as freely as wearing crop tops at home, wearing black nails and all the likes. He doesn't really get bothered by any of those anymore. And it's just a beautiful thing that you if you allow someone to actually accept it. And when he said to me he's okay, but he's having a hard time accepting it, that's where I kind of like had a difference in perspective, that even I had trouble accepting myself. What about my parents, my family, and other people around me would have trouble accepting, especially my dad. So it was also a good, refreshing feeling. So hearing that from both of you is just wonderful. Now I do have another follow-up question, which is a very important one. Even I am having troubles with this, specifically about pronouns. Miss Ace has a question here. I know it's important to address people based on their pronouns, and some, like Miss Janley over here, has it up on their bio: she, her, he, him, they, them. There are a lot, right? And people have trouble, even like those who identify as they and them. People have trouble identifying them as they, them in sentences and how they do that. They try their best. I do try my best, and I try to. I'm glad that people put it out there also, so which is easier for me. But her question here is that how would we know if this we were meeting the person for the first time? Is it okay to ask directly, or is it offensive to ask like how do you ask it properly? Because when we talk in real life, you wouldn't have a he, her, she, they, he, yeah, you wouldn't have that. So how do you approach a situation like that?
Jandy, I think you're better suited to answer this question.
Right. Thank you. I think that's a very helpful question. No, you very informative. Um, it's not. There are two types of questions: appropriate and inappropriate questions, and it's always okay to ask appropriate questions, and it's never okay to ask inappropriate questions. So, how do we know the difference between the two? So, whenever I talk about this, I tell people about the CIA of asking questions. So, the Central Intelligence Agency of asking questions. But the it means C stands for context, I stands for intent, and A stands for approach. So you have to know. You have to know first what your context is, meaning what your relationship to the person is. Are you dating that person? Is that person your friend, your brother, your sibling, your parent, or your child? Then, by of course, your if that's your relationship and you're close, then you're coming from a pretty reliable context, right? But if you're a stranger who doesn't have anything to do with a person, is it really will it really matter to you? You know,
Mhm.
but at the same time, you can be a stranger and have a relationship with a person. For example, you're conducting an event and you meet someone for the first time, and you want to be able to relate to that person better. That's your context. Then that's reason enough for you to ask an appropriate question. That's context. Then an intent. Number two, what is your intention? Why do you want to ask a person this question? Is it to get to know the person better? Is it to relate to the person better? Then by all means ask the question. If your intent is to to trivialize the experience of this person, to make fun of the person, then of course it's not okay. So there are differences. And then lastly, the approach. How, of course, you have to approach it in a proper manner. You have to make the other person feel that your intent is good. You know that you have to be warm. You have to ask. You have to do it in a very warm manner. Um, so with Ace's question, if it's okay to ask the pronoun, so context, maybe you're not close, but but you have to know the pronouns of the person in order to relate to that person better. Then check. Then intent, again, maybe you do not know the person, but you want to know the person better. You want to be able to relate to the person better. Then check. That's a good intention. And then approach. If you're able to ask the question in the proper manner, then check. So you have all three checked. Then you can ask the question. So, for example, hi, excuse me, may I ask for your pronouns? Or hi, how do you want me to refer to you? Hi, what pronouns do you use? So that's okay to ask that. That's not offensive. Now, when the person you ask finds that offensive, then it should not be your problem anymore. So maybe the person experienced a traumatic experience with someone who asked a rude question before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay, that's a good point now to bounce off on. Thank you so much. And CIA, very helpful on my end. I probably have to take note of that. But I've had moments where I just
Same.
ask instead of asking the pronoun, I ask them, "What's your soji?" Is that a good way to ask that or no?
Yes,
If
that's
I ask,
fine also. Yeah.
okay. So gosh, thank God
So
I'm
the wrong questions would be, of course, what have you undergone surgery? Because
okay.
what are you gonna do with the information anyway, right?
Okay.
Of course I'm dating you and we're gonna have sex later. Of course you can ask me, but if you're a stranger, what does it matter? Why do you want to know if I've done the surgery? Right? My private parts are private, and you don't ask non-trans people about that. So you don't ask me that also.
Okay, there you go, guys. Now that's very informative. You all know how to ask it. Don't forget CIA, context, intent, and approach. And yeah, that's a wonderful pointer. So for people who intend to, be more respectful towards any member of the community or actually anyone, that's a good way to ask them how they wanna, be recognized and referred to. Before we go to our final question, we have another follow-up question here that I want to answer if anyone can answer here. And speaking of personal pronouns, if someone were misgendered accidentally, is that enough for them to be angry and call out the other person who misgendered? We kind of like touched on it earlier a little, so maybe you can just expound on that a little more, Miss Jam.
John, you
I
can.
can only speak for myself,
Mhm.
because we all take things differently. So, but for me, my guiding principle is that if at the first instance of misgendering, you feel na it's an accident and it's not hindi naman intention ng person to hurt you or offend you, then I'd let it go. I'd rather spend my energy on other
Yeah.
things, right? But if I feel that it's being repeated and being done on purpose to ridicule me, then of course I would get angry. Well, I try not to get angry, but I would call it the person out. I would call the person out and correct the person because that's rude. So we take things differently, but for me, as much as of course we keep on telling people that they should respect us and we are educating them. At the same time, we should again we should have the right approach to it. We can't always be angry. We can't always be um, on the offense. So sometimes it's easier to relate to people if they feel that there's no wall. They can relate to you. So um, to me personally, I try not to be um, easily offended unless I
Mhm.
feel that I'm being offended on purpose.
Mhm.
Okay.
Adding to what Janly said, no. Again, it's also a if it's in the first instance, then sige, yeah, let it pass because it could be an accident. Pero if it's in the second instance, okay, sige, let it pass, pero be wary. Pero at the third instance or the fourth instance, the fifth instance, girl, mag-isip-isip ka na. Hindi ka,
Mm-mm.
you're not being respected there anymore. And but one of the things I think that we have to understand, especially for people who misgender accidentally, is that these people don't know any better. Now tayo, as part of the community, we know better. And it's up to us to educate them why it's important for us to have pronouns to 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 be addressed with the proper pronouns. For example, my mom, who is who claims to be an ally but has her own microaggressions,
Mhm.
and she has a lot of she had a lot of questions before, like what are these things? What are these letters? Why do you have so many letters in the in your LGBTQIA? What are these letters? What do you mean by pronouns? Why do you have to why do you have to refer to these people as them or as ganyan ganyan? Of course of course you have to come from a place where of educating that
Mm-mm.
person. Especially if it's someone who is close to you, someone who genuinely wants to learn, and someone who just really slipped up. Again, being angry at someone who accidentally misgendered you is a waste of energy.
Eh, Yeah.
But you can be angry at someone who keeps misgendering you a lot of times. Yeah, I'm just trying to put things in perspective also there.
Yeah. I
Right.
love that. Parang it's not naman hindi matakot, pero parang hindi din naman sila like if it's an accident, parang hindi ka lang mag-sprack onto them. Tapos parang sila,
Mm-mm.
oh, ayaw na mag-mistake, like nakakatakot, may mga call out lang ako and all the likes. So, yeah, this is so much. I was so hard, no? And daming questions. But to end this na lang with everybody, may maganda kasing tanong din po si Miss KK for you, Miss Janly. Last na talaga to, promise. And then the next one is, how do you handle backhanded compliments daw po, Miss Janly?
All right. So backhanded compliments, yun nga. We were talking about this earlier, microaggressions, when people tell you, for example, for gay men, sayang ka, guwapo mo, pero bakla ka.
Mm.
For trans women
Yeah.
naman, sayang, maganda ka sana kung wala kang Adam's apple. Kaya sabihin,
Mm.
ang ganda mo, muntik mo na akong maloko. Parang, okay, I'm not trying to fool anyone, girl. So, yung mga ganong comments, it's very common actually than most people would think, especially here in the Philippines. Very common yan.
Uh-huh.
Kahit nga, di ba, body shaming, na parang tumaba ka, dyan ka lang.
Mhm.
Very common yan sa atin. So how do I handle that? Um, I answer them, I tell them, kunyari, when they tell me, muntik mo na ako maloko, sabi ko, ay, thank you girl, but wala akong tinatry na nilokohin because I'm just being myself. Ganon. So, usually naman ang backhanded compliments are they do not mean to offend naman eh. Kasi nga, that's why it's a compliment, di ba? Pero backhanded nga lang, hindi lang nila alam na
Yeah.
offensive pa rin yun. So, hindi naman nila intention to hurt you. It's just that they do not, as like what Miguel said, they do not know better. So I just tell them, girl, I'm not trying to fool anyone. So next time, don't give that compliment. If you really think a trans woman is pretty, then just tell her she's pretty, and that's it. So again,
Yeah.
education. We go back to education.
I like that. That's true enough. Okay, thank you so much for your time, no. And to finish off with these final questions, a lot of our audiences here in Blogapalooza are content creators in all the likes of all places, all sectors, and all aspects. But we want to know is what role or how can they amplify their voices as content creators in support and protecting the voices of the community? How can we be more proactive in our support and how can we maintain the energy even after Pride Month? Kasi Pride Month, naglalabasan lahat. Everybody goes rainbow,
Mm.
everybody goes whatever, full out. And what I enjoy about Pride Month personally, it just makes me feel empowered to actually stand along with everybody, my sisters, my brothers, and everyone, they, them, all of us standing out there and being able to protest this kind of treatment to us. So how can we amplify and help amplify the voices as content creators? There you go.
Mm. Sige, ako muna. Um, Keyword here is sincerity. Sincerity and respect. Um, it's so fun. It's so refreshing now to see a lot of people, a lot of content creators already joining the cause. You know, not the bandwagon, but rather the cause. They really genuinely want to fight for us. And it's also refreshing to see that a lot of that because of the pandemic, there are a lot of safe spaces that have come up, especially on Twitter. You know, Twitter Spaces.
Yeah.
There are a lot of groups that came up that were organized because because it was an they just wanted to unwind. They just wanted to talk about each other. They just wanted to talk about stuff. Um, One of the things that we have to remember is that we have to keep doing things better. I understand that it's not again, we're not a perfect community. There will always be mistakes. There will always be mishaps. There will always be people who will call you out for something, and you will definitely be called out for something, especially if it's a mistake. Um, but the one of the biggest things that we should keep on doing is, even if we are called out, we respond with love and we do things better than before. As content creators, that's what we have to do. We have to keep on moving forward. We have to keep moving forward. We have to keep doing better. Our community deserves that. As allies, we have to continue standing with our LGBTQIA plus brothers and sisters. We have to keep educating ourselves about these things, about our brothers and sisters' struggles and their fight. As members of the community itself, we have to give each other some slack because we're all in the same boat here, and we're just going to if we all just keep tearing each other down instead of building each other up, if we keep on, you know, throwing shade at each other or sipping tea, um, or fighting, it's not going to be a it's not going to be a pretty sight. Again, our end goal here is for the bigger community, the wider society to respect us, to to see us for who we are. And we are not just for their entertainment, nor are we kings and queens of shade. We are human beings, and we deserve that kind of respect. But the only time we can get that respect from the wider community is if we start respecting each other within our community also. So there you have it.
Thank you so much. That's okay. Yes. Now, Miss Janly, what about you?
I think to add to what Miguel already mentioned, consistency and action. We can it
Yeah.
can it can't just be lip service. It can't just happen during Pride Month. As much as of course we love that we are being highlighted during this month. Of course, we're not gonna be against that. It has to continue beyond Pride Month. So if you're a content creator and you really want and sincerely want to support the cause, the LGBTQ plus rights, then do it even after Pride Month or before Pride Month. Take concrete steps, and one of the things that you can do is to, and this term is often used, but for this particular question, it really applies. Pass the mic because sometimes no matter how good of an ally you are, you cannot sometimes you just can't speak for us. You can't just speak for members of our community. So pass the mic to us. Let us speak, let us be heard. And that's
Mhm.
the best thing that you can do.
I love it. Pass the mic. And adding on to Mr. Miguel's also, do you know, Dominique, since you like post, Dominique Jackson, like she has a speech that always
Yeah.
goes around every Pride Month that I love, is that I'm not going to ask you to respect me. I take that
I
from you.
think
I
yes.
demand respect because I am a human being. And that just hits me all the time. Because being human, already have the inherent right to actually be respected for your life, liberty, and everything that you are as a person, no matter who you are and how you express yourself and how you identify. And sticks with me so bad all the time. Whenever I see that, it gives me chills. Like, love.
Right.
Okay. And thank you so much for spending the night with us. And you are both amazing. And I can't wait for you guys to. I can't wait to see you on Kings and Queens. I might have to visit and come by because usually I do a lot of other stuff then, so I don't get to come by. So I want to see you in action for Kings and Queens. But before we end our show tonight, thank you everybody, thank you everyone. I'd love to know where can we send you some love and where can we follow you and where can we see you. Let's start with Miss Janly over here. Let's go, Miss Janly. All right.
Yeah, so you can follow me at Janly Dunka. So actually it's here below my IG handle and on Facebook, Janly Dunka. And of course, Kings and Queens, I'll let Miguel share the accounts for Kings and Queens. But also Kings and Queens is part of the Spaces MNL family. We have our Facebook page, so Spaces Manila or Spaces MNL on Facebook. And of course, Miss Trans Global Philippines, at Miss Trans Global PH on Instagram and Miss Trans Global Philippines on Facebook. So again, please watch our Coronation Night on Sunday, June 6th, 8 p.m. We'll be having amazing um, contestant candidates, performers, and judges. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I can't wait
Yeah.
for Miss Trans Global on Sunday. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. And now, Mr. Miguel, where can we send you some love in? Joke.
Okay, well, it's just there here. Sorry, Yan. Okay, there. You can follow me on at JMLago on IG and on Twitter. But I have to warn you guys, my Twitter has a lot of kalat as well. So if you're ready for kalat and if you're ready for a lot of thirst traps, then go ahead. Pero again, meron naman tayong substance. So don't worry about the substance because we're always going to have that. Again, you can Kings and Queens will be airing its third season soon. I'm not at liberty to divulge the dates yet, but you can follow us on Twitter at Kinks and Queens. That's Queens with a KWEENS. And you can follow us on Facebook, Kinks and Queens. You can also follow the Spaces Manila Facebook page and the IG pages also as well. So we can't wait as one of the hosts of Kings and Queens. We can't wait for you to see you guys online and to discuss more things with you. A lot more kinky and queenly things for the betterment of the bigger queer community. Oh, di ba, Janly, ang ganda.
I love it. Queer community. Ah, wonderful. Ah, queer community. Hello, queer community. Listen.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love it. I'll give it that a shot one time. But thank you so much. You guys have been wonderful, and everything was so insightful. Wonderful, wonderful episode. Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. And hopefully, we can have you again soon. So, thank you so much. This has been a wonderful night. But before we end, I just also want to promote that Bulaga is having its sixth birthday this year, and I hope you can join us this coming June. We have June 19, 2021, 4 p.m. to celebrate our sixth birthday. So Blogger fam, tune in, join us for a fun-filled month and celebrating pride and celebrating our sixth birthday. Thank you for being here and thank you for sending us some love. This has been 80 and this has been our kings and queens of the queer community. Thank you for being here, Miss Chappie and Mr. Miguel. Goodbye, Blogger fam, and thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Happy Pride.